kids, it's Julie and I have a really exciting draw along for you today. It's a Pokemon. So a lot of you have been asking for a Pokemon themed drawing project. So I decided, since July is all about farmers markets, to draw this little guy. And I don't know if any of you know who he is, but his name is Bounsweet. Basically because he's a bouncing sweet berry. And see, I even have my Pokedex, and this is who we're drawing today. And of course, if we're drawing a Pokemon, we're gonna kind of have to draw a Pokeball too, aren't we? So what I need today is I'm just gonna be using a black marker to do the outlines, and I'm gonna be using some markers to color him in. But use whatever you have. You can do this with crayons. You can use watercolors to paint him in. But Bounsweet is kind of not red, almost like this color that's kind of between purple and red, like a maroon or a raspberry. So you're gonna need a color like that if you wanna color him exactly the way he looks. You're gonna need yellow for his eyes. You're gonna need a red for your Pokeball, a couple different colors of green, and then you can do the background however you want. So feel free to do your background differently than mine. I just used the blue sky thinking it was a nice sunny day. But this is who we're doing today. And again, his name is Bounsweet. Bounsweet. So I'm gonna get my piece of paper out. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And I'm gonna put it horizontal. That means I'm putting it lying down. And the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw the Pokeball. And get these markers out of my way. They are rolling all over the place. And guess what? Pokeball is a shape that all of you know really well. So we're gonna draw a circle. We're gonna draw it on this side of the paper, and you can make your Pokeball as big or as little as you want, but we're just gonna start with a basic circle. So I'm gonna just draw a circle. Now, if you get frustrated that your circle doesn't look like a circle, maybe it's kind of lumpy and it's not as circular as you want, one thing you can do is get a lid from something like a container. Now this one's a little big, but here's a lid from a container. So if I didn't think my circle looked good, I could put down a lid and I could trace around the lid. That way I could make sure that it's a circle. So if you have a lid and you want to make sure that your circle is really circular, that is something you should consider. So now I'm going to draw the inside of the Pokeball. And the way we do that is we're going to draw a small circle on the inside. I'm going to draw another circle around it. I'm going to draw a third circle around it. Here we go. And then I'm going to give it what looks like a belt. So on this side and on this side, I'm going to draw 2 lines. And I'm going to use my marker, or if you have a black crayon, to color this part in. And then I'm going to draw the belt or the stripe on the other side. So I'm going to use my 2 straight lines. I'm going to color in this part. And this black is also on the outside of all those circles that we drew. So this circle that goes around, that's closest to this stripe, we're also going to color black. So just this part, but we're going to leave these 2 white. And then there's only one other color that our Pokeball gets, and that is red. And the top half is the part that's red. So I'm going to take my marker, I'm going to put the cap on, and I'm going to actually just color that red right now. Sometimes I like to draw the whole picture first before I color, but sometimes it's kind of fun to just know that you've drawn something and it looks really cool already. So I'm going to just use my red marker and color in my beautiful Pokeball that I just created. And you can see that a Pokeball is actually made up of shapes. And you know what? When you're drawing, most things are made up of shapes, right? So if you look at something and you want to draw it, if you look and try to break it down by the shapes, like circles and squares and rectangles, there we go. We have our Pokeball. So I'm going to put my red marker away and I'm going to get my black marker back out. I just got excited. I wanted to color that Pokeball right away. And we're going to move to our little Pokeball creature. And remember, his name is Bounsweet. So he's a fruit Pokemon. And he's also a grass Pokemon. So that's why we're going to have a grassy scene for him. But we're going to start him off. And I'm going to draw him on this side of the page. You can draw him lower to the ground if you want. You can draw a giant one. You can draw a little one. And you can use the same technique. So once I draw him, if you want to draw multiple Bounsweets everywhere, you can do that too. But we're going to draw them all in they're really easy to draw. And first thing we're going to start with is an oval. And it's going to be an oval that's lying down. So an oval is like a squished circle. So just draw an oval like that, somewhere on this side of the paper. Now, we're going to draw his leaves next. And the first one is the middle one, and it curves up and around. So yours can go this way or this way. But we're going to draw a line coming up from the middle of our oval, curving around almost like a big turtle head. That's that big middle leaf. And then we're going to draw two leaves coming out to either side. So right where our turtle head leaf touch that oval, we're going to draw a rainbow line, and we're going to draw a rainbow line on the other side. And then we're going to make a smile line and connect it back to the oval. And there's his leaves already. We're going to add a little bit of an internal leaf. So we're going to draw another shorter rainbow line, and that adds a little bit of that vein to that leaf, or the look like the leaf is folded over. So that's the top of him. Now we're going to draw the berry part. We're going to draw two curved lines that are going to come like this. So how big do you want your guy to be? Do you want him to be really big? Do you want him to be a little skinnier? But we're going to draw a curved line on both sides. And then we're going to draw his little kind of fluffy tutu. It almost looks like he's wearing a little cloud. And we're going to do that by drawing three little rainbow bumpy lines from this side to this side. Bump, bump, bump. Just like that. And then we want him to get narrower as he gets down to the bottom. So we're going to do this same line, the bump, 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 but we're going to make it a little bit smaller. So down here, we're going to go bump, bump, bump. Do you see how it's a little bit smaller? And then we're going to connect these with curved lines again. So there's his little cloud, almost like a little skirt or a little tutu. And then one of the last things we need to do to finish his body is we're going to make his legs. We're going to come down off this side and make a point, point. And you can make his legs however pointed, but his legs are kind of spread apart because he's kind of flying through the air a little bit. So now all he needs is eyes. And his eyes are little ovals. Do you see how the little tiny ovals? And then he's got a smile. So we're going to add those in. And his eyes are farther away, so they're not really close, but they're spread a little bit farther away, and they also don't go straight up and down. They're tilted off to the side. So we don't want to draw an oval this way. We want it to be a little tilted. And then we want our oval on this side to not tilt the same direction. This oval goes this way. We want this oval to go this way. So we're going to draw a little oval just like that. And then he gets a smile. And his smile isn't way down here. It's way up there, almost next to his eyes. So we have our Pokeball, we have our Pokemon. Now he is known, all the Pokemon have their own special attacks and moves, right? And one of the ones that he has is something called Razor Leaf. So for this project, we're going to draw some leaves kind of flying through in the wind. Maybe he's trying to evade capture. So they're trying to catch him in this little Pokeball, and he's like, nope, I'm not interested. And we're just going to draw little tiny green bananas. That's all they look like. So little tiny bananas. So curved line, bigger curved line. They almost look like smiley faces too. Curved line, bigger curved line, curved line, bigger curved line. You can draw for maybe about anywhere from 4 to 10. So draw them wherever you want, in between your Pokemon and your Pokeball. And then to make it look like they're moving through the air, we're going to add just a couple of swirly lines. So it almost looks like these leaves are kind of blowing through the wind. I'll put one right here too. Okay, so we have our Pokeball, we have our Pokemon, and now we can try to create the scene in the background. Do we want it to be a cloudy day? Do we want there to be a rainbow happening? One thing that I want there to be is grass, because this is a grass Pokemon. So I'm going to just use some short lines down here as some texture for my grass as I do my horizon line. And that horizon line is that line that goes across the paper where the ground and the sky are divided. So I'm just going to make some black grass lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some green lines over the top of these grass lines after. But remember, this Pokeball is sitting in the grass. So I'm not just going to make my short lines around the Pokeball. I'm actually going to take my grass lines and make them go over the Pokeball, right? This Pokeball is sitting in the grass. So how far is it in the grass? You get to decide that. But if you don't do grass lines over the Pokeball, it's going to look like it's sitting right on top. And we all know if we put a ball inside the grass gets squished down. So now you can decide, do you want a rainbow? Do you want clouds in the background? And Pokemon is a cartoon, so you can make your drawing in the background look really cartoony by drawing some clouds, and you could even have the sun poking out in the background. Like it's a beautiful sunny day. So that's our drawing. So we're going to get out our markers or your crayons or your watercolors, whatever you have, and you can start coloring him. Now he has a white, this stays white. If you're drawing him the way that he looks, this part stays white. And he is, remember I said he's that raspberry color. So he's a color that's kind of not red and not purple. It is somewhere right in between. So this is the cap color that I'm using, and these are Crayola. But it kind of looks like a raspberry. If you have a maroon, that kind of color would work wonderful too. And don't forget to get his feet. His feet are that same raspberry color. And his eyes are yellow. So make sure when you go around the eyes, you go nice and slow so that you don't accidentally give him raspberry looking eyes. And he is pretty easy to color. And you might have chosen to draw another one or two in the background. So that's all I need that color for. Now I did choose a couple of different greens because his leaves look a little bit different. So the lighter color goes right here. And also on the top here of these leaves. And because of the shadow, there's a darker green that you can use if you choose on the undersides of these leaves, and also on the lower part of the center leaf that looked like a turtle head. So I'm leaving my light green and I'm picking up my darker green here. And I'm going to, and you might have a green that's a little bit closer to this color than mine is. These greens are very, very different. But it's fun to use a couple of different colors of green when you do leaves in general, not just with this Pokemon. So while I'm still holding my green, I'm actually going to move down here to the grass and I'm going to start putting some green on top of the black marks. And they don't have to be fully on top. I don't need to trace those black marks. I'm just making short little marks with my dark green marker. And then I'm going to go back and pick up that lighter green again, or maybe even a third green. I want this grass to be multicolored. Lots of different colors of green. And we also have the leaves floating through the air that are green as well. So I'm going to color a few of these while I have my marker out. I'm going to put this green away, and you can always choose a third green. This one's even darker to finish coloring in your leaves, and then you can go back and add that another green on top. And you can see I'm not tracing at all. I'm just making short marks. And this is adding something called implied texture. So that means if I rub my finger on top, it's smooth. But because I'm making these marks, it looks like the grass actually is grass. It actually has texture that you could almost touch it and feel it. Okay, have my beautiful grass. I think I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna color my my little Pokemon's eyes yellow. And I'm gonna get the sun that's smiling in the background. There we are. And then the last thing that I want to do is I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to color the sky and make it a beautiful sunny day. Now coloring the sky can sometimes be a lot of work and use up a lot of blue. So you can see I'm doing these stripes as I'm making my way across. And these markers you can use and you can just color right over the black. The black will come out, but you do have to be careful when coloring around your leaves because you've already added color to those. And markers can really run out of color fast, especially if you forget to put the cap on. So I think luckily I have another one that's the same color. There we go. That one's got a lot more juice to it. So don't ever forget to put your caps back on your markers really tight, or when you go to use them, suddenly they're not working so well. And then you don't get those really pretty colors that you want. Going around all these leaves. And be real careful going around my Pokemon. And I can actually, this marker has a lot of juice, so you can see I can do these long stripes to make it easier on my hand to color. Around my clouds. And you can see I'm outlining the area first. It makes it easier to get that color in there. I'm going to outline my cloud, outline the leaves. And these markers, especially this blue one, this is a smelly marker, so it smells really good as I'm coloring right now. You can see that this is a really sunny day. This blue is really bright. And there we have it. We have our Pokemon. We have Bounsweet. And there he is again, right there. And he is a fruit Pokemon. He's a grass Pokemon. So I know a lot of you were asking for Pokemon, so I hope you enjoyed this and drawing this guy, and you might not know who this Pokemon is. So I wanted to do something a little bit new, a little bit exciting, and I'll be back next week. So I hope you join me then. Have a wonderful day.